Leadership can be lonely, and sometimes it seems like no matter what you do, you don't seem to get very far. It may surprise us to realize that in the New Testament, the church embraced a different type of leadership: team leadership. Have you ever noticed that the Apostle Paul never traveled alone? Even though he was the main teacher, he wasn't recognized as the leader. When Paul's team traveled, they also appointed teams of leaders to oversee each church. Paul talked about a powerful model of church leadership in Ephesians 4. To better understand this model, picture a small community garden with community members as its gardeners. Their job is to care for and expand the garden so it can feed more and more people. Shepherds work from the center of the garden. They make sure everyone is getting along, that their personal needs are being met, and that everyone is safe and accounted for. Teachers lay the foundations. They make sure the gardeners know what they are doing and how they are supposed to do it. Prophets keep an eye from the top of the garden. They notice when the gardeners are getting distracted from gardening, point out important areas that aren't being tended, and motivate the community to keep going. Evangelists work at the edge of the garden. They tell other people about the garden and recruit them to become gardeners. Apostles strategize and break ground for expanding the garden. The shepherds, teachers, prophets, evangelists, and apostles make up the leadership team of the garden. They fill these roles even as they continue to garden. Therefore, they can't do this work alone. They form teams to help them. Every gardener plays a role on one or more of these teams. These are the leadership roles described in Ephesians 4, 11 and 12. So Christ himself gave the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the pastors, and teachers to equip his people for works of service so that the body of Christ may be built up. But there's more to it than this. In the first few chapters of the Gospel of Luke alone, we see Jesus as an apostle, a prophet, an evangelist, and a teacher. He later reveals himself as a shepherd. Alan Hirsch notes that if Christ is all these things, and the church is the body of Christ, then the church is also called to be apostolic, prophetic, evangelistic, shepherding, and teaching. He then takes it a step further. If the church is all these things, and we are her members, then these apostolic, prophetic, evangelistic, shepherding, and teaching genes are in our spiritual DNA. So what does this mean for you? The first question is, which of these functions are you the most gifted in and passionate about? The next question is, what members of your church are most gifted in the others? If the church is to grow, we need to lead alongside one another as a team. However, you can't carry out your function alone. If you are a teacher, join with a team of gifted teachers. If you're an evangelist, encourage and mentor your fellow evangelists. Then take turns serving and learning from the other ministries of the church so that your smaller ministry teams benefit from all 5 leadership perspectives as well. As the church grows in each of these areas, we'll grow more and more like Christ. Leadership shouldn't be lonely. And when we all work together, the church will go further than we dare to imagine.